Hi everyone, this is Ronnie. In this video we're going to talk about best strategy for transitioning to a raw vegan diet. And my journey of changing diet and lifestyle goes back to at least when I was a teenager, when I started to make some small changes, experimenting with improving my lifestyle and how that would impact how I felt. Because for some reason, and I don't know exactly why, but from quite a young age, I had the belief or the insight or the idea, as I say, I can't remember where I got it from, but I had this understanding that if I felt bad, if I wasn't feeling good, if my body wasn't performing well, and all these things, and my mind wasn't right, I believed that it was something in me that had to change rather than something outside of me that I had to change, if that makes sense. So I wasn't looking for some substance or a material possession or something else that would change me, and I wasn't really looking for medication and things like that. So for some reason I had that idea, and from quite a young age I was exposed to different dietary changes and things. I might have told you the story when my brother was probably 7 or 8 or something years old. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. As a result of that, me and my brothers, our diet was changed. So we used to have sugar in our tea, we used to have more biscuits and snacks and stuff like that. And a lot of that was taken out of our diet. And my parents would buy diet drinks like Diet Coke, Diet Iron Brew, or whatever, drinks that didn't have sugar in them. Now, that was nutritionally not particularly good advice for a type 1 diabetic. Diabetics actually, there's research that shows diabetics doing better with more sugar in their diet, and it completely makes sense because diabetes is not connected with sugar. The symptom is high blood sugar or low blood sugar. Low blood sugar, yeah. So this is the funny thing with diabetes. This is a really funny thing about it, because if a diabetic goes into a coma from low blood sugar, the diabetics, and my brother used to carry around glucose tablets of sugar, glucose tablets, and he would take these if he was ever, if his sugar was ever going low, and that's the kind of, and one of the things of people going into a diabetic coma is that their personality starts to change. They start to become unreasonable, angry, aggressive sometimes. They totally change character. It's funny, it's just like someone not eating enough calories, being undercarbed, fasting to some degree, although usually when people are fasting they're resting and things and they're not getting into that state as much. But when people have got a lot on in their life and they're not eating enough, sometimes people used to call it undercarbed. When people are undercarbed, that blood sugar starts to go low and people get, hangry, or whatever you want to call it, hangry. And often they don't even know they're hungry. And if you try to give them food, they're like, no, I don't want to eat. It's funny. I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. And it's in that state, it's even hard to get a diabetic to eat the sugar tablets or whatever. But the high blood sugar the symptom of diabetes really is people peeing a lot because they're constantly peeing out the sugar, and having high blood sugar usually, because especially type 2 diabetics, because they have so much fat in their blood. It's quite a simple mechanism, right? But it's not to do with consuming sugar. So anyway, that's 4 minutes gone on in the video, so I'm trying to speed this up a bit. So I gave up sugar years ago because I felt bad eating sugar, and I believe that sugar was a problem. I used to binge on sugar, used to like sweets. First thing I should say about myself is I never drank alcohol really, a handful of occasions, and never took drugs. So even at a young age, I didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't take alcohol. So I was already on that path. So there's a lot of you that you were on that path quite recently. I gave that up a long time ago, or never even got involved in it. So for those of you who have spent years drinking, smoking, taking drugs and all that, you know, you've got to get over that maybe first before you start making big judgments about other people's diets and stuff like that. Get over that. Get that out of your life. If you're looking towards highest levels of health, all that stuff has to go. 100%. Like, so when I hear about fruitarians taking drugs and stuff, I'm like, you don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Especially things like ayahuasca, which is like a drug, but let's pretend it's like a, ancestral medicine. Let's use the word medicine instead of drug, instead of it's a substance that distorts your perception, damages your body, inhibits your brain's ability to function normally or whatever. But I get it. A lot of people are going to come back to me and say, no, these things are amazing. You can see the Pachamama and she'll tell you what to do with your life and all that stuff. I've still not seen anyone go to Pachamama and all that and really make many positive changes in their life. I've not seen it a lot, as far as I know. Anyway, so I was always on a path towards health, even if I was eating a junk food diet. But I was looking for this easy answer, like if I give up sugar, I don't need to do anything else. That's what I believed. If I give up sugar, and I was into all that stuff, the Bitter Truth or whatever it's called, Sugar the Bitter Truth. There's a video on YouTube. I watched the whole thing. A guy called Robert Lustig. This is way before I was into veganism or anything, or raw veganism or fruitarianism. Way before that, I was watching this guy, nodding my head, going, this guy is right. Everything he's saying is right. Sugar's bad. It's the sugar. Sugar's the problem. And I was like, I wanted everyone to know that. I wanted to get everyone to stop eating sugar, and all the issues of the world would go away. So I stopped eating sugar. It took me a long time to do it. I didn't do it overnight. I did it. It might have taken me 3 or 4 years, but that's a lesson. 3, 4, or maybe even 5 years from the point of me thinking I should cut this out to actually achieving it was 3 or 4 years. My question to you is, how many of you are willing to do that? How many of you are willing to continue to work at it for 3 or 4 years to actually get rid of that habit or addiction? Because many of you, if you can't get over it in a week, you stop trying. You just can't deal with it. You can't deal with the reality that you are not in control of yourself. You're not humble enough at all. That's a real issue, that you think you know more about yourself than you do. You think you understand yourself. You think you're in control. You think you have discipline. And when I see that kind of ego in people, I'm like, this person is nowhere near making a real change to their lifestyle. When I see people even coming into the fruitarian thing or raw vegan, and I see this ego about them, and this like, yeah, I'm never going to eat cooked food again, and they've only been doing it for a couple of days, and they're telling everyone what they should be doing. They're telling everyone I'm a detoxification specialist and I'm a mystical food this and that, and I've done 25 dry fasts and 37 water fasts and 27 juice fasts and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but how long have you consistently done this diet without eating cooked food? Like, how long have you consistently done it and performed at your highest level and not lost weight uncontrollably and all that stuff? So people jump in, they're trying to be a teacher, they're getting in touch with me, they're trying to speak at the fruit festival all of a sudden. Like, it's too quick, it's too fast. And when people have that kind of attitude, it's not a good predictor of them having success with changing their lifestyle. You have to really understand, it's like the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. You have to understand that you're not in control of this thing. That your conscious mind, that you have control over your thoughts and your ideas and your actions to some degree, but there's all this other stuff going on in you that limits your behaviour, stops you from doing things, holds you back, keeps you within certain habits, keeps your personality consistent, so that whenever you're trying to do things, all of this other stuff is going to come into play. And you have to have all of that in alignment to successfully make a change to your lifestyle. And that takes time. And it takes a lot of perseverance, more than like discipline. Perseverance and discipline are different things. Discipline is the idea or the delusion that you're going to wake up and tell yourself what to do and you're going to go and do it. Perseverance is continuing at something to the point that you no longer need to have discipline. And I prefer that. I don't really have the discipline to force myself to eat raw every day. People say to me, I'd love to be vegan, I just don't have the discipline. It's not about having discipline. It's about persevering and trying it out and realizing, a person having a vegan meal and they have a little insight of, I feel better after that meal than I usually would. That's all it takes. That's the exposure to that higher level of health. And so, what I suggest to you, the best way to transition is continually expose yourself to the benefits of the raw vegan diet by continuing to have meals of fruit, to increase the amount of fruit in your diet, to have meals of raw food, to go to raw food events, to meet raw food, is to continually expose yourself to this idea and continually expose yourself to the education, whether it's my channel or other channels, that might inspire you to continue on and do this. And that continued exposure over time, that perseverance eventually gets you in the flow of doing it, and gradually your old behaviours drop away almost effortlessly. And so there are things that can accelerate the process for sure, but there's very few people that are going raw 100% overnight and never looking back. Even someone with the worst disease issue ever, that should have so much motivation to change, that's in so much pain, you would think they will have the motivation to do it, and it doesn't work that way. You're trying to go against your biology, you're trying to go against your psychology. That's not looking to change, it's not desperate to change, in a funny way. So it's about repeated exposure, it's about continuing to believe it. The belief is a big thing. It's about continuing to see it and, gradually increasing the amount of fruit in your diet, then having fruit for breakfast. Gradually, maybe at some point you have only fruit for breakfast. Then trying some fruit at lunch, with your lunch. Then eventually have a fruit lunch. Well, that felt okay, that felt quite good. But you're going to go back to what you do usually for lunch. Then you have another fruit lunch one day. Then you try and do fruit lunch for 2 days in a row. This feels good. This is nice. Then you might go back again to the other stuff you ate for lunch for 2 weeks. Then you remember the fruit lunch felt good. Maybe I'll try it again. Then you do a week of fruit for lunch. Then you start to get into a habit of fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch. Then it starts to make sense. Why don't we try it for dinner? And I think that process is more likely to work for you than I'm going to do this 100% from tomorrow and never look back. The things that I think that can accelerate the process for you are getting around other people that are doing it, so that you actually create a community of people around you, and that inspires you and drives you more to do it. That brings in more emotion into the equation. And it actually starts to make the peer pressure work in your favour. Rather than the peer pressure taking you down towards things you don't want to do, get around peers that are doing things you do want to do, and let that pressure of them going, wait, you're still eating that stuff? Come on, you can do better than that. That kind of peer pressure, rather than the peer pressure of, why the hell are you trying to eat healthy? That's a lot of stupid, it is, why do you do that? You want peer pressure to work in your favour. So getting around a community, coming to one of the events, coaching is probably the fastest thing that pushes people to make a change. And having a mentor or a coach is a commonality of almost all people that have made this made this change, having people that have inspired them. So the transition, the best way to transition is going to be a step-by-step process. It's most likely not going to be an overnight process. If that works for you, if you're that kind of person, which is rare, believe me, you're most likely to try it and fall off a number of times before you get it right. Maybe even 20, 30, 40 times. So go into this with that expectation. Don't expect you're going to do it straight away. But also don't feel bad when you fall off. Don't think, gee, I'm the only person in the world that can't get this right. You're not. That's everyone. So anyway, Anyway, that's the message for today. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. There's Aubrey. And we have some spots left for UK Fruit Fest. Well, we have a lot of spots left, but in terms of our early registration spots, we have about 15 spots left for those places. If you're interested, go to fruitfest.co.uk/registration. And if you would like to learn more information about the Fruit Fest, if you want to join the newsletter, just go to Fruitfest and join the newsletter, and you can get more emails and stuff.
And buy shirts.
Oh yeah, the Fruit Fest shop. we have a Christmas sale for all our T-shirts. We have boxes of the T-shirts left from the festival. We have women's sizes, men's sizes, unisex.
It's perfect for winter. There you go.
Winter hoodies. With this great message, everyone loves this design around the world. This is a viral design or something. So 15% discount with the code Ronster.
Oh.
Yeah, well that's another one. I'll make one for this channel, Ronster. 15% off this week up to the 18th. Try and get it before Christmas. So fruitfest.co.uk/shop, and get your hoodie or your t-shirt or whatever. Thank you very much for watching.